Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. My name's Jonathan. As always, I got the Masters crew here with me, the Doc, Alec. What's up, guys?
How we doing?
Hey, Commish.
You guys ready to do some Dynasty trades?
Love it.
I've never been more ready.
All right, here's what we're doing today. I went through the Dynasty trades all week. I've hand-selected a few. We're going to spotlight those trades. With that said, let's jump right into this first trade. Kyler Murray, James Robinson for Patrick Mahomes and A.J. Dillon.
Man, this is a tough one. I think before the Aaron Jones signing, I definitely would have said the Mahomes side. But now,
That's so tough.
so I do think, Mahomes is definitely a little more valuable than Kyler, who, at one point last year was number one quarterback in fantasy for the year and almost was the number one dynasty QB.
Mm.
But I think Mahomes still gets that edge. James Robinson, obviously, phenomenal rookie year, but I think we're all a little convinced that James Robinson's going to come back down to life.
Right, yeah.
I kind of switched midway through. I'm going to stick with Mahomes and A.J. Dillon. Even though Aaron Jones signed that contract, I still think A.J. Dillon is going to get some opportunities, be somewhat relevant. And even, I know it's hard to look out 4 years from now, but I think there's a way better chance A.J. Dillon is a starting running back 4 years from now than James Robinson.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that too, and it's very close. Especially, Kyler Mahomes. Mahomes is definitely the number one, but I feel like Kyler is probably number two if I'm picking quarterbacks here in terms of dynasty. And yeah, I just keep going back to the Jaguars GM just basically not giving any confidence towards James Robinson and pretty much saying that they're going to add another running back. I mean, that to me is enough to make me side with A.J. Dillon, who I'm sure he'll at least... I mean, we've seen Jamal Williams carry decent value before, so I know A.J. Dillon will at least have some value too now, and then the potential for that to grow is there as well. So, yeah I'm going to lean the Mahomes side, but that's an interesting trade. That's a tough one.
Yeah, and actually I'm glad you brought that up just because, for those of you who aren't following free agency super closely, Jamal Williams did sign with the Detroit Lions.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I think A.J. Dillon's kind of a sneaky buy low because I think a lot of people all of a sudden super disappointed when they saw that Aaron Jones deal come across.
Mm-hmm.
Feel like A.J. Dillon could be worthless now, but I think, as the doc mentioned, he's definitely going to have a role, have some value. And if Aaron Jones gets banged up, A.J. Dillon could all of a sudden be an RB1 every week he gets the starting job. So I think A.J. Dillon a sneaky buy low with Jamal Williams out of the picture.
Yeah, I agree.
Good stuff, and no surprise, we got two of the biggest naysayers on James Robinson in the fantasy community sitting here with me. All right, going to move on to the next trade here. Got another Christian McCaffrey trade. I was surprised to see McCaffrey's name as many times as I did this week, but him and Barkley, actually. But we got Christian McCaffrey and a third-round pick for Wayne Gallman. Basically, it's 3 1s, 1.8, 1.9, 2.8, a first and a second, 2022.
So I would rather have Christian McCaffrey, I think. 3 1s and 2 2s is a huge haul, and if you've been checking out the Sorcerer series, which, CEO and owner John Beast started, I think he would maybe side with the picks. He loves those rookie picks. I'm actually not convinced he wasn't the one who did this trade because I know he loves those first rounders. But I'm always trying to win my league, and McCaffrey can really help you win a league next year. The first in time will help, but McCaffrey's my 1.1 still in Dynasty, so I gotta say him.
Yeah, speaking of team names, I want to shout out to Jay Orbell.
Yeah.
I was our Masters Fantasy Football champion, the first championship series we ever had. My man.
Yeah, great customer.
Yeah.
He's unpaid, though. It says that.
Yeah. What are you doing, man?
I think it's kind of situational dependent. If you're trying to win now, I get it. I think it's good to kind of give those picks and go get McCaffrey. And on the flip side, if you're trying to rebuild, I feel like that's a really good haul for McCaffrey. 3 firsts, 2 seconds. Those 2 firsts aren't necessarily high, but again, you can even package those and get up higher if there's a guy you really like. I think this is a good trade. I don't really have any side I particularly lean there.
Yeah, I like it. I think if I was in the trade, I would have wanted somebody a little better than Gallman.
Yeah, that's like a throw-in because I think they just signed a running back too. The Giants did.
Yeah, they did. Who was it? Somebody I felt.
I'll find it.
And they got that Saquon guy.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly going to get all carries and all catches this year.
Yeah, that's true.
I will say this, and I have been on that side. The majority of my whole fantasy life. Until lately, man, a little bit. I keep thinking when you could get a big haul from one of these guys that you pull the trigger. And I'm just going to give you two guys' names. We were sitting here talking about Todd Gurley before the show. He's probably not even on a football team anymore. And if he is, we don't know if he has any value.
So speaking of, I recently did a startup dynasty draft, and he went undrafted. Todd Gurley went undrafted.
Yeah, and then add Le'Veon Bell to that list too. And
Yeah.
I think, if you look at Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, 3 years ago that was Le'Veon Bell and Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
They were pulling the same
Right. Yeah.
exact hauls. So for me, it's kind of got me a little scared. And when I see, a haul like that, a stud, I've just been a little more likely to pull the trigger. I'm going to move on to the next trade here, another blockbuster here. This is one of our bronze Dynasty Leagues. Your guys' favorite running back again. We got James Robinson and George Kittle for Josh Jacobs, Denzel Mims, and a 1.
Just real quick too, it was Devontae Booker that they
That's
signed.
right.
Booker,
Yeah,
okay.
that's right. Yeah.
Let's see. Ooh.
This one's a lot to unfold, kinda, because I think there's, a lot of moving pieces and just different ways to value some of these guys. So like James Robinson, you mentioned it, we're two of the biggest naysayers on him. But Josh Jacobs, however, I'm starting to really get scared of Josh Jacobs this year. It started once the offseason started, he got pulled over 3 in the morning, which is around the same time this trade got accepted, actually. But then after that, they start tearing up their whole offensive line, which had me worried about Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Then they go out and they give Kenyon Drake about $7 million a year, if I remember correctly. I think it was about
Over
2
2 years,
two
yeah.
years, $14 million.
Yep.
So I'm just really scared about Josh Jacobs next year, which is funny because a year ago, I thought Josh Jacobs was going to have a huge fantasy year. He played decent, but got banged up and didn't quite live up to expectations. And then, besides giving Josh Jacobs and a 1 for George Kittle and James Robinson, I know Denzel Mims is on that side as well, but I think Kittle's easily worth that 2020 first and then some. Mm-hmm. James Robinson could definitely have a Josh Jacobs year next year and maybe even better. So I'm going to say Kittle and James Robinson.
So for me, I think, I wasn't really huge on Josh Jacobs in the first place. To me, he's always been kind of touchdown dependent too. And adding Kenyon Drake it's a big hit to his fantasy value to me. Other than that, it's an interesting trade because I'm not really big on James Robinson either. But I think Kittle's enough to make me side with that trade just by a little bit there. Josh Jacobs worries me going forward.
All right, that was a little too easy. Gonna make this a little harder on you guys. Let's get rid of everybody in this trade except Josh Jacobs and James Robinson.
That's actually a really good one. So a week ago, I definitely would have said Josh Jacobs still. But after they tore apart that O-line and added Kenyon Drake, which really just limits the pass catching upside of Josh Jacobs, I'm going to roll with James Robinson, I think.
I can't believe it, but I think I'm going to say the same.
What's funny is the one league I have James Robinson, I also have Josh Jacobs, and I'm trying to package the two of them together for a running back I feel better about.
I thought it was interesting you had said this trade came in at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
About the same time that happened. One of the coolest things, doing these trades, working here, is if I get up in the morning or any time of the day or night and I start processing trades, if I see someone's name too often, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, what happened?
Because as soon as something happens, you guys get out there trying to get all sneaky and pass them off
Honestly,
real quick. Especially Josh Gordon's a guy.
Right.
Or if I see 2 Josh Gordon trades in a row, I'm like, oh, what did he do?
Right.
That is a good point. Anytime some big news breaks like that, you just see this trade.
There they come.
Exactly.
You guys always try to pull a fast one on us over here. All right, going to move on. Is this the final one of this one? No. Going to move on to the 4th trade of this episode. This is in one of our bronze dynasties. It's a pretty big trade here. There's pretty big names in it. We got Chase Claypool, Mike Evans, the 1.8 and 2 for McFarland and DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift, 2 dynasty drafts this year. First round, both of them.
Yeah.
So, I think definitely you can make the case DeAndre Swift's the most valuable dynasty player in the trade. However, I personally value him less than most of the other rookie running backs last year. So I'm talking about, Jonathan Taylor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Cam Akers even. I like Swift more than James Robinson.
Clyde.
Yeah, Clyde, Taylor. Oh, Dobbins and Akers. So for me, Swift's kind of the 5th guy out of that group. And to get Claypool, Mike Evans, 1.8 and a 2, I think I'd rather have that, mainly because I love the upside that Claypool has. I love the fact that Mike Evans is still going to put together a few more really solid years. The 1.8 on top of that. I'm going to go with that side, but Swift could be a league winner in the next couple of years.
Yeah, just a quick question on that. Did you feel that way prior to the draft last year, or was that destination? Because
So
most people
I actually
had Swift as
did.
their
So I
one.
was I felt like always a little lower on Swift than consensus. Had he landed in Kansas City, I think it would have been a different story. But in terms of NFL running back prospects, I actually felt better about Taylor, Dobbins, and Akers all over Swift. I just felt like they were more built for the NFL. They just look a little thicker to me. I think Swift is a little leaner. Just I worry about his longevity a little bit.
Yeah. I didn't really have Swift. I thought talent-wise he had like the highest potential of that bunch. But yeah, I can see where Al's coming from on that one. And yeah, situation, him going to Detroit didn't help things. In terms of this trade, he may be considered the most valuable, and I think the consensus would be that he is. But yeah, I like the other side a lot better with Claypool and Evans and the picks. I think part of it too is just Anthony McFarland's the only other piece in that trade on the Swift side where, even though as of right now it seems like he's the only running back in Pittsburgh, I don't think that lasts very long. I don't really think they see him as a 3-down guy going forward. But if he did, then that's a great trade. Then
It's funny you say that because I feel like we all kind of forget. James Conner is a free agent. It sounds like he's not coming back. Like Anthony McFarland's sitting in that seat until they take it away. I know Benny Snell's there as well, and I'm sure they're going to draft a running back. But
you would think so.
And it's funny because everybody loved McFarland last
yeah,
year.
I did too.
I like him too.
He just never really got that shot, and it's funny how
I don't even think he'd be a 3-down back. Anyways, though.
Yeah, he's just kind of a change of the pace satellite back. But
Yeah, well, maybe Rat. We'll just leave it at Rat. Know something we don't hear.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I do think Swift, and I'm definitely with you guys. I actually really like that side of the trade.
Yeah.
According to draft boards, we can really make a case for DeAndre Swift there.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to the final trade in this section. This is another one of our super trader leagues. If you love trading, these are the leagues that get in. We take 12 guys, love to trade. I think John was counting them last year. I don't remember how many it was. I just know every single day when I log in to do trades, super trader. These guys love to trade. They do it all day. So it's a pretty interesting trade here. Antonio Gibson, Cooper Kupp for Wayne Gallman, and the prize DK Metcalf.
I like the way you said that, the prize DK Metcalf, because he is the most valuable guy in this deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think he is special and has a chance to be even more special going forward. But I like Gibson and Kupp a lot. I do worry a little bit with Curtis Samuel signing in Washington if he could possibly take some opportunities away as Gibson, just because Samuel's a little bit of a hybrid in terms of what he does in terms of receiver and running back. And I've always liked Kupp a lot too, and think he's kind of sneaky underrated because 2 years ago he was a wide receiver 1. I think he was like wide receiver 3 on the year or something crazy. Then last year definitely didn't perform that well. I think he was a wide receiver 2, but that's tough.
It is a tough one.
He gets Stafford this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say with Stafford, I think there's a lot of value in Kupp. Doc, you got.
You know what? I think I'm gonna do a slight lean to Gibson and Kupp. I agree. DK is the best player in the trade. I think if there was a better toss-in than Wayne Gallman, and even maybe if the Giants didn't sign Devontae Booker, I'd look at it a little bit better with Gallman being the toss-in. But I think just the value of those two guys over DK is just a little too much for me. So I'm gonna side with Gibson and Kupp.
Yeah, and I'm gonna agree with you because potentially DK, he could finish as the wide receiver 4. Kupp could easily finish as the wide receiver 10, and then to get Antonio Gibson, short term, I think that definitely makes up for it. Mm-hmm. And Gibson could have a long career as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked that you guys are both big DK Metcalf
Yeah, we are.
guys. I'm actually going with the DK side on this trade.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think it's really close.
It's kind of funny how your brain works and stuff, because the truth is if I had DK, which I do in a couple leagues, I would reject that. But just looking at it from like an outsider, it's just funny. You feel differently when you're giving up the main guy.
Well, as we always say, guys value their own players more than any other one.
Right.
Yep.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up this edition. Thanks so much for watching. If you could, hit the like and subscribe button. if you haven't seen one of your trades on here yet, what are you waiting for, man? Get out there and make some trades. I'm going to be processing them all week next week. I'm going to hand select some of the best ones. We'll do this all again. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it. Any last words, guys?
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys.